Hey there, John for CanCoverIt. You know, one of my favorite parts of this job is hearing from our pro installers, the pros who have taken CanCoverIt and run with it. They've integrated the CanCoverIt units into their workflow and found that they're saving a ton of money on the amount of time it takes to cover fixtures, and they're delivering great results that they're proud of and that give them great reviews. To that end, we're starting a series called Profiles in Excellence to highlight all of the great pros who have been working with us and who will work with us. Today's profile is on Environix. They're a Washington-based environmental toxin and pest mitigation company. They come in to the building and fix it up for good so that it's healthy, safe, and efficient. They've been using CanCoverIt for a few years. I gave James Mallory, the president of Environix, a call, and we had a great chat about how CanCoverIt has helped them, how they help their customers, and some of his expert advice. Let's give it a listen.
Environix, we do indoor environmental testing and cleanup. I tell people basically anything unpleasant inside of a home or building, we're going to figure out if it's there, what caused it, how do we clean it up, and how do we make sure it never comes back again. So we've been at this for 14 and a half years now. And we're very passionate about this industry and really elevating the quality of the industry. It's an industry that's not known for trustworthiness or integrity, and we are very passionate about those things. So I've been with the company since the beginning and have been at the helm for, I guess, the last, say, 9 years, something like that. And just happy to help solve people's problems up here in our neck of the woods and serve our customers well. We've been using your product for quite a while now. I don't entirely recall how we heard about you in the first place. I know we had been using some really clunky solutions, either cutting pieces out of sheetrock and foaming them together to make inverted boxes to cover can lights. We had tried some of the other competing offers, but they were far too bulky to carry around in the attic space. So we were looking for something like yours because we are passionate about permanently solving our customers' problems. We have no interest in just addressing the superficial symptoms of an issue, and we really want to get to the source of it and permanently eliminate the cause of the issue. A lot of our work is in attics, of course, and dealing with condensation-based rot and mold growth on the underside of roof sheathing. So we're keenly interested in stopping vapor transmission up into an attic, and we had tried air sealing penetrations and stuff, but fairly early on realized that if we can't figure out can lights, we're not going to accomplish much from an air sealing standpoint. And we fairly quickly got frustrated with how labor intensive and costly the other approaches were. As you can imagine, sitting there cutting out a sheetrock into a box and foaming all the edges is not terribly cost effective or time efficient. So when we landed on yours, it solved those two big needs. One, the underlying taking care of our customers to make sure we've really stopped the source of their issue, and two, could we deploy it in a way that made economic sense? We needed solutions that customers would be willing to pay for, and we could integrate it into a reasonably priced solution that both had a good product cost but also had a quick labor cost or a low labor cost because we could move throughout an attic quickly with it.
And that's really what we're trying to, raise the awareness about as well as the time savings. I'm really glad to hear that we've helped you out with that, because we thought about you, so that you can think about the customer, right? Spend more time on that. And, I'm curious, how have you integrated CanCoverIt into the sales process with your customers?
See, I'd say 95% of our houses are fully occupied, up and running. There may not be like often we're meeting with the realtor as a representative, not the actual customer on site. But these are almost never new construction. They're always existing structures for us. So the vast majority of ours are retrofit applications.
Yeah, that's excellent. And that's, what excites us is fixing the existing structures that people already live in. What makes your specific work, working with CanCoverIt, that much better, where you're solving their core problem? What is it about your work that, we could consider better than some of the other folks out there who maybe are just going after symptoms? Yeah,
good question. Well, certainly nobody likes to spend money on fixing attic condensation and mold issues. It's clearly not the most fun, entertaining way to spend their hard-earned cash. So what I love about our approach is that not only do we solve the frustration and solve the problem that they called us in the first place, but by really focusing on air sealing the lid, we're also improving the energy efficiency of the home and the overall performance of the house. So the customer gets a 2-for-1 when they hire us to deal with these issues. Not only does it make it permanent, they're going to see lower energy bills and a much more tightly sealed structure, which it really helps our estimators and our inspectors talk with customers to feel like help a customer understand and rightfully feel like they're getting a good value out of this, not just remedying a negative. They're actually getting a positive that's going to improve their house.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, that's cool. I'm curious, you mentioned air sealing sort of insert things and other stuff like that. What is it about your approach using CanCoverIt that's going to do better than somebody coming on underneath from the ceiling, for instance, and just kind of throwing a seal around it or whatever?
Sure, yeah. Well, there's a couple of problems that come from below. I mean, obviously, switching out to an LED retrofit can improve it over a leaky old 40-year-old can light, certainly. But what I found, there's several problems. One, a lot of them don't come with a gasket. Or if they do come with a gasket on the trim piece, it's such a thin, rigid material that it's not really air sealing very well. So that's the first problem I see. The other is, yes, you can caulk it in place or seal it in place, but because those LED retrofit kits you can't replace the bulb, you have to replace the whole thing. Now you may be tearing off or messing up your sheetrock and have a real mess on your hands when you need to replace that. I've also noticed that a lot of customers don't like the LED retrofit kits from an aesthetic standpoint. I'm the same way. I just don't like the light output of the kind of cheap retrofit kits because there's a very narrow range of offerings. So we tried to offer the LED retrofits to a lot of our customers and found that we were getting so many complaints from they don't work well with their dimmers, to they don't like the color of the light, or the style doesn't fit the rest of their can lights. So what's made us dramatically swing back toward CanCoverIt is that it allows the customer freedom to choose the type of light bulb and trim cover that they like for their can light, while achieving the best air seal possible. Because we're doing it from the top, we can foam around the perimeter, we can go over all the little undulations between a heavily textured ceiling. None of that matters anymore because we're air sealing it to the very smooth top side of the sheetrock. So those are our two biggest reasons we really emphasize the CanCoverIt over other options.
That's excellent. Yeah, I mean that really that customer choice piece is definitely why you're a cut above others. You're not just going to show up with a solution and tell them it's what you need. You're going to work with them. And it seems like CanCoverIt gives you the flexibility to do that. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about, some of the pushback that we have with some of the other industry folks has been, well, this product costs more than a cardboard box, for example. And I wonder if you could speak a little bit about the labor savings that you get by the CanCoverIt being designed sort of with the installer in mind.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty rigorous about putting metrics around our jobs and what are the real costs of each activity, the labor costs, how much time does it take a technician per unit of activity to do it, and really figure out where our costs are. And when we did this, we were really surprised to see that some of these seemingly ancillary things like can lights were taking more time than what we thought was our core activity during our jobs. So the labor savings on the can covers is enormous. If you pay your technicians a good solid wage, which we do, then in our math on these jobs, it is more than compensates for any extra cost of the can covers. Our techs have techniques down by utilizing zip ties on groups of bags, and the bags that they come in, that they can easily, quickly crawl through low height, low access attics with a half a dozen or more of these under an arm, which before these CanCoverIts would have taken multiple trips back and forth, and the potential, not to mention just the wages that you're wasting by having a guy crawl around up there. They're that much more likely for them to put their knee where they shouldn't and pop out the sheetrock, or throw their back out because they're twisting in the wrong position. In my mind, time in an attic should be minimized as much as possible, and especially in really hot weather, there are all sorts of reasons why the time spent in an attic is a real detriment to the profitability. So we want to give a really quality service. We don't want to skimp, but we want to do it fast, and the CanCoverIts have that in spades.
I just want to kind of open it up for you to kind of have a heart-to-heart with what kind of, what should they expect? What should a customer be demanding out of their improvement contractor?
Yeah, if a customer should not be satisfied with anything less than permanent solutions. That every dollar spent should be fixing a problem permanently, so they never have to spend those dollars again. And I'm shocked by how often that's not done. My analogy would be, you would never hire a water damage company to come dry out a drippy faucet without also making sure the plumber fixed the drip. What I see with a lot of attic issues or indoor environmental issues, especially humidity-related stuff, is that customers are paying a lot of money to have it cleaned up, but because the underlying conditions that caused it in the first place aren't fixed, a year or so later, sometimes as short as a few months later, it all comes roaring back, and the customer has to spend not only the money they would have in the first place to prevent it from coming back, but now they have to clean it all up again. So my recommendation for customers, regardless of the industry, but really specifically for moisture management, indoor environmental type work, is to demand permanent solutions. They are absolutely possible. Fix it once and for all.
Wow, what a great! I'm so happy to hear that. You really are. That's why you're a profile of excellence, right? Because you're going for quality service. You're going to do it fast. You're in and out, and you are actually solving the problem. That's really admirable, and I really hope that more customers learn that they're allowed to demand that. They should expect that. We over here at CanCoverIt obviously hugely appreciate you. You're the reason that we're in business. This is why we do it. It's to help people help people. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely happy to help. Keep up the awesome work, and we'll touch base soon.
Thanks for listening. That was James Mallory with Environix. If you're in the Washington area and you'd like to hire Environix, check out CanCoverIt.com/hireapro, where you can find their location information. If you are a pro and you want to be featured in Profiles of Excellence, just give me an email over at info@CanCoverIt. Maybe send some pictures and just a little bit about how you're using CanCoverIt in your practice, and I'll jump on the phone with you too, or just do an interview and we'll write up a blog. We really want to feature our professionals. You are the ones who help connect the dots between the homeowner's desire for a more comfortable home and the expertise to make that happen. We really, really appreciate you and want to continue to support you. And if you're a homeowner listening to this and you'd like to get some CanCoverIts up in your attic, but you don't live near one of our pros, well, you can always buy CanCoverIt, find a local pro, say, hey, can you please install this for me? And maybe we can connect some dots together and get another great profile and excellence going. Take care.